Hey everyone, I'm Cody and this is the Mutant Menace presents Let's Talk About X. And today on the show we're going to be taking a look at House of X issue number 6. Let's do this. House of X issue number 6 was written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Pepe Larraz and colors by David Curiel. The lettering is by Clayton Cowles of Virtual Calligraphy and the design work is by Tom Muller. Wow. I loved this issue. This issue feels like what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to see some of the nitty-gritty of society building. Hickman has given us a lot about what it takes to build a society, what it takes to build a culture, founding a language, all of that kind of thing. And this issue, we're seeing the founding of the official government of Krakoa. We're seeing the council be founded. And it is at once amazing, fascinating, thrilling, and absolutely horrifying. The horrifying part comes in when you take into account the trial of Sabretooth, in which they exile him into this stasis in Krakoa, in which he is conscious, he's aware, but unable to act. This, in my opinion, is kind of worse than death. You hear horror stories about this and people waking up under anesthesia in hospitals, and to think that Sabretooth is going to go through all that and his rage that he felt as he went in, I mean, there's no way this isn't going to bite our X-Men in the ass someday again, right? But we're getting ahead of ourselves. This issue opens with this beautiful sequence of Xavier addressing the world, and this is where the quote comes from about humans of the planet Earth, while you slept, the world changed. And the full speech is brilliant. It gave me chills. I had goosebumps. I was reading this at a coffee shop and trying my hardest not to cry. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And it was everything that Cyclops had been kind of hinting at in his Revolution days during Bendis' Uncanny, but never could put it into words. Everyone would ask him, especially Havoc. He was like, "What is the Revolution, Scott?" And I'm just looking at this there it is. There's the revolution he wanted. He just didn't have the ability to see it through. He didn't have the language, the capabilities, nothing. And Xavier is kind of doing that. And I'm just sitting here this reeks of revolution, Cyclops, and I love it. He tells the people, "You closed your eyes last night thinking you owned the world. That dream was much like mine. It was a lie." Earlier, he says that his dream of, coexistence and harmony between humans and mutants, he calls that his dream, and he called it a lie, and he said the humans had the same disillusionment, that the world was always theirs. And Xavier is acknowledging, we are the superiors. This is our deal here. And Magneto's just smiling in the background, and I loved when Magneto just touches him for a moment and says, "Charles, all that hate, all that disagreement, that ends now. You have my word." And Xavier just kind of puts his hand on Magneto's hand. You guys, I read this in public. I don't know if you made the same mistake, but boy, was it hard not to just get super emotional and just cry those salty tears into my coffee. Now, going back to the forming of the council, that was just so fun to see all these mutant voices from, all across the spectrum, from good to evil to everything in between, and how they interact with each other. Sinister just soaking up the drama. Hickman Sinister, going back, harkening back to kind of Gillen's Sinister. This is the Sinister that we need. I need all of this. I love that he's just sitting there this is fun. Somebody shock me. It was just fantastic. And just the intricacies of how they're forming their laws, which we should get into, actually. This is kind of a huge deal for the X-Men going forward. I mean, we got that huge white page with the big bold black text telling us the 3 laws that the council has decided upon in this issue. Now, this is a big deal. The first law is make more mutants. I mean, leave it to the X-Men for their first law to be fucking. The second law is murder no man, and they had this whole extensive conversation about the treatment of humans, and let's not kill them, that breaches any code of justice that we might have for ourselves. And the third law is respect this sacred land, respect Krakoa, because remember, they made it clear in this issue too, Krakoa is not just a place, it's not just flora, it's fauna. Krakoa is alive, it has consciousness and awareness, and I love that throughout this whole sequence in the council, we see Doug Ramsey just kicking it, he's leaning against the tree, he's like, "Krakoa, you know what to do." And I love that kind of just really stands in contrast with everyone else's interaction with Krakoa. Doug's is very casual and honest because they know each other more than anybody. Once again, Hickman has leveled up Doug Ramsey. Cypher went from being kind of the boring joke. I'm not to me. I've always loved him. Trust me. I think he's a precious angel. He must be protected. But he was never, too many people's favorite mutants in the New Mutants. And then we saw him come back and, where we learned that he could speak body language to a T so that he could fight really well. And now Hickman's like, yes, and I'm going to make him the liaison with Krakoa, with the entire lifeblood of the mutant community. I mean, this is epic epic stuff. So from this scene with the council, as I mentioned earlier, we see them, enact judgment over Sabretooth, and it's super grim. And even Xavier's just like, yeah, not my favorite part of the job. Been losing a lot of sleep, been working real hard, and now, to my council, you'll probably be in the same boat. You'll probably lose a lot of sleep. We have to make a lot of hard choices, but you know who will be able to rest? Them. And it just opens up when we see the expanse of Krakoa and we see the X-Men as we know and love them, partying, socializing, celebrating. I'm getting emotional right now. Dazzler is making her light show. There's music, there's beers. Cyclops and Jean and Wolverine are all kicking it. Wolverine has his arms around both of them. They're sharing beer. Jean's like, give me a beer, give me a beer. She goes to Emma and hands her one, and then they're kicking it, and Emma looks over at Scott with that knowing smile, and you guys, these are the kind of moments I've been waiting for so long. This almost makes suffering through Rosenberg's run of senseless slaughter worth it. It honestly, now that we're here, I mean, I'm just sitting here like, Rosenberg's Uncanny Who? I mean, this is what I've needed. And I know, trust me, I know we're all going to go down in the comments later and say this isn't going to last. Watch, Cody next week, future Cody's going to have a very different, demeanor about him, I'm sure. This is all going to come crumbling down. I mean, we pretty much know that. The solicits have kind of indicated that. Everything in the past life about Sinister having his own motives and betraying everyone, and all the clones, the whole batch of them that were defective and caused the collapse of Mars, we know all that has happened. So things don't look too good, and we know about the fall of Krakoa being a huge foreshadowing. So, like I said, future Cody, he's probably going to be very different. But this Cody, he's embracing this, and he's loving this so much. This is the X-Men I've needed for so long, and it just felt so good. So, needless to say, I love this issue. It's Pepe Larraz. You all know I love him. I think a lot of us can agree this is some of the greatest work being done visually on an X-book in a long time. David Curiel is covering for Marte Gracia on covers. I follow Marte Gracia on socials. It looks like he has sustained an injury or had some kind of procedure, but he's doing really well, but it did leave him unable to color some of these issues. But David Curiel is a wonderful stand-in. I mean, there's scenes with the fireworks that are just brilliant, just truly glorious. These collaborations have been so tight and so strong. And the issue ends with, just look at what we have made. I think that's a quote by Magneto, and I'm looking, baby boy. Loved it. So you guys, did you like this issue? Did you not? How do you feel? How do you feel about the ominous portent that awaits us next week and beyond? Leave your comments down below. If you liked watching this, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And remember, just keep it right here at the Mutant Menace, your queer counterculture medium for making contact with the mutants, the mystics, and the myriad misfits of Marvel Comics. Stay frosty.
Hey, hey.